Better?
All right. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. All right, let's get started, guys. Well, welcome to the Power Half Hour, everyone. Today, we have two very special guests, and I'm just so honored and so grateful that they took the time out of their day to share with us. And these two are my very first mentors in the business. They taught me, not everything, but a lot of what I know in real estate here in Greater Vancouver, and I can't wait for them to share. So Danny, Chow, and Salina Kai from the Chow and Kai group, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Well, hey, guys, you guys look super young, but you've been in real estate how long now, Danny, Sal?
This is probably my going into 26 years now.
26 years?
Yeah, 26 years.
Whoa.
Started in 95 with kind of part-time with Rennie, right? And then basically graduated in 96 and went straight into it since 96. So yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, so you have a very funny story of how you got started. You did tell this on Tony's podcast. Can you share with us how you got started in real estate?
Yeah, pretty much. I guess back in 95, I was going to BCIT and kind of had a part-time job while I was going to school, and it wasn't the greatest job. And one day I showed up to school early, and back then it was they had kind of like employment centers for people to look for work and everything, as opposed to online stuff and online postings and everything. And so I went in there, and I think it was like, if I remember correctly, it was like 8:30 in the morning is when they open up. And I walked in there and I noticed a girl had posted a job posting on the wall. And I took a look at it at the time, and I was like, it was looking for a real estate host. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's what I'm getting into. And I kind of looked around and nobody else is looking. So I end up taking the posting off the wall. And when I took the posting off the wall, I applied for the job. And I guess probably about a week later, I got a call from Bob Rennie's assistant at the time for an interview, and seemed the interview went very well and everything. And she's like, oh, a week later, she's like, oh, would like to hire you. Are you interested in the job? I said, no, definitely, for sure. And she's like, well, this is quite different this year, because you're the only one to apply for the job this year. And I was like, oh, everybody must be focusing on school, I guess. And that point onwards, I don't know if I was actually qualified for the position. I just didn't have any competition. But that's kind of how it's all started from 1995 as a part-time job, and been working there ever since. And after graduation, 96, it's just been full-time, and kind of just working from starting out in the pre-sale side of things for probably close to the first 10 years of being in the business, and then kind of switching over in probably 2007, 2008, around there, just a little bit more focused on the resale side of things, with also a presence in pre-sales. So it's kind of a quick summary in terms of how I got started. And I'm sure there's not enough time here for me to tell you kind of the whole entire timeline, because as you know, John, it's good for the last 25 years. So.
Oh my goodness! And you're barely what are you, 43 years old right now?
No, I'm 40 right now. So I started how old was I? Started when I was 15.
Pretty close. Just a phenomenal story, and just goes to show how curious you were, how hungry you were as a youngster, jumping right in, and 26 years later, still seeing the passion in you. So just kudos to you for keeping that energy up. Salina.
Yes.
Lina, how did you get started?
So I come from a real estate family. My mother was a realtor. 3 of my aunts are realtor, and right now my younger brother is also a realtor, Derek Kai, with Rennie. So growing up, I actually wanted to be a teacher. So my dad actually sat me down and goes, oh, being a teacher is great. It's great if you marry somebody and combine your incomes, and you can spend time with your kids in the summertime. But, as a single income living in Vancouver, it'll be very difficult. And my dad thought I had potential to do what my mom did. So he's like, oh, you should look it up. But my mom is a tiger mom. So she's like, there is no way you're going to get a real estate license without getting a university degree. So I went through the whole Bachelor's of Commerce program specializing in real estate through UBC. During that time, I was living on campus and I was working a part-time job at a higher end fashion store. And when I graduated, that owner of the store knew that I was going to leave. So instead, she fired me that day that the manager told her I was planning to, go towards a different career. So the manager felt super bad. And at that time, she's like, don't worry, I'm really good friends with Bob Rennie's right-hand guy, Kevin Wong. So I'll introduce you guys together. So I was introduced to Kevin Wong and we did a little interview and he says, I don't have anything right now that would fit your qualifications, but we do have a receptionist position for Bob Rennie's office if you're interested. I said, no problem. I was living at home. I was like, no problem, $21,000 a year. That's more than I make now. So I just wanted any opportunity to get into that company. So I was Bob's receptionist. I started out as. And Bob knew, I think, when there are people that are so successful out there, probably has some genius characteristics as well. He knew that I was destined to be a realtor. So he just said, when there's a good project, I will put you on it. And he put me as actually below Danny. Danny was a salesperson. I was the coordinator for a project called Casina and Denia in Cole Harbour in Vancouver. And I had a lot of leeway being in my coordinator role because I was already licensed. So a lot of the times, Danny and the sales team let me do the tours. And I think at that point, I was converting the people into sales. And Bob, one day, I think he pulled me aside and he's like, the next project, you'll be the team lead. Wow. And then somehow the market kind of went up. Danny and I became a lot of the projects we worked together and we would probably sell 4 or 5 high-rise towers at the peak of it a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just you two?
Well, we had other salespeople a part of the team, right, but we were probably the ones that were looking after the entire building. That's amazing.
What a start. So you guys together were selling 4 or 5 buildings a year and the market was just on fire in terms of pre-sale, pre-construction, if people are from Vancouver. Now, then you parlayed that into Rennie resale because all the buildings were completing. So when did you guys make the transition to resale?
I think it was around 2000, 2007, 2008 is kind of we saw the opportunity. At that time, it was kind of a weird time. It was kind of the recession period, and right, but we just kept at it and we decided to turn our focus to more on the resale side of things. And it was crazy at that time when the buildings were finishing, the listings, and I think it's just jumping ahead of myself, but it's just really just in part of the business, just building those relationships with people, right? And building all the relationships we made with people back in the day through the pre-sales, and just loyalty is another thing where you keep in touch with your clients and everything. It just it's kind of branched from there. Like the biggest thing with our business is I would say a big majority of our business is through referrals. Referrals and family and friends is kind of what our main focus is, and it's just kind of branched off from there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, guys, if you don't know who Danny and Stella are in locally here, they are absolute legends, and they don't do any marketing. It's strictly by referral. And look at just how humble they are. You guys put in the grind in the pre-sale world for 10 years. And Danny, you told me, I think it was 2009, you guys did 200 transactions, just the two of you. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, basically individuals, and we partner up on all our listings together, but we also do our own individual buyers and everything. So it just really just the two of us that are doing all those deals. And I think, yes, we have some help on the side for doing showings, all kind of stuff, but the main thing is just really myself and Salina. We don't really have a team, so to say, that works under us. So
that's insane.
It's been pretty busy.
So Danny, I want to bring up this story that you told me a while ago. It really hit me when you said a lady who was, a Chinese lady with a plastic bag walked into a pre-sale center. Nobody would talk to her. And you were the only one that gave her time and gave her the advice. And then, lo and behold, she's like a millionaire. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how that client turned into multiple transactions over the years.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's just at the very beginning of getting into business, there's always challenges, right? And I think the biggest thing for myself at the time when I had started, I was 21 years old. So at the time, in 20 years ago, like there wasn't very many younger realtors, so to say. And me getting the business, it was like, yeah, at the time I was like one of the younger people, and I said to myself, like, how am I gonna do this? Because if you go to somebody's gonna look for a home, which is one of the biggest investments in their life. It's why would they use somebody that's new as opposed to somebody that's got experience, right? And
Right.
I just put my mind to it. And like I said, going back to the story, like she was, which I'll touch base on shortly. She was like one of the people I met, but one of my very, very first clients that I remember working with was this nice lady. It was on a pre-sale project, and she didn't drive, and she lived in Coquitlam, and she was only available on Fridays. And I took the time and I said, okay, well, we're not open on Fridays, but if you like, and if you're open to it, I don't mind coming to your house and presenting this project to you, which was rare because presentation centers, everybody comes to use during certain period of times, right?
Yeah.
So I offered this to her, and I took the information to her, showed her the project, and within, I think it was like a 45-minute meeting, she bought 3 units off me, and those are the first those are the first 3 sales I ever made. So
oh my goodness.
So I think that was that was putting just being a little bit different and being a little bit out there. And then getting back to your story about this lady. So this other lady, probably in the early 2000s, she came to the presentation center and nobody would give her the time of day. And basically I went to talk to her, and at the time she had about 2 properties off me right off the bat, right at that time. And then from then till now, I think it's about 20 years later, she's probably bought about 15 properties off of me, and she's still buying places. So,
oh my goodness. And she still walks around with her plastic bag in her hand.
I think she's got 2 plastic bags now, maybe.
It's crazy. So guys, listen to this. I mean, it's all about customer service, going that extra mile. And Danny just put his mind to it. There's nothing like more to that you can do as a young realtor, but he put in the work, which I do want to transition to. I think Sal has a different skill set, but also very customer oriented. I remember, Sal, 2015, I was on the phone talking to 50 people a day, and you were just kind of like smiling in the bullpen. And then you were saying, John, why do you talk to so many people that are cold? Why don't you talk to your own clients and keep them updated on the sale of their home and or the progress of their home search. If you communicate with them on a consistent basis, when the deal is done, the referrals are just naturally come. And that hit me really hard because I was going all cold and then not talking to my clients. So talk a little bit about that, Sal.
So John, you've done so well. I mean, kudos to you and your entire team. It's incredible. But in a way, I how should I say it? I'm not someone I think a lot of us, everyone thinks as realtors, we're completely social beings. But in a way, of course, we are social, but maybe after work, we're actually kind of introverts. Like when I come home, I kind of shut down. And I think speaking out there into the industry, not all of us are that wine and cheese mingler and works the room type. I think we can be very social, and we are social with our clients. But when we go home, I like to be in my office alone, and a lot of the time without kids. But I always, my motto is, when you hire me as your realtor, you have me in a way more than even my children do, because I will respond to you, doesn't matter, 24/7, right away, you get me. And I want to treat them so well that after the transaction, I don't have to send Christmas cards. I don't send Christmas cards. I don't want to send Easter eggs. I don't have to call them for coffee. But when real estate comes up, they will call me and say, Salina, how are you doing? We're ready to list or we're ready to buy. And I think people will remember the service you give, and people will remember that because we're all busy. And if you stay humble and you just, at the end of the day, realize they don't, like my high-end clients, they don't want to be my friends. They like me, but they don't want me to come to their brunches, or they may invite me, but I always treat myself as I'm their realtor. I'm providing a service. I'm not trying to become friends and be part of their network. But by doing that, if I don't have that attitude, I instantly become part of their network, and they treat me as this is the realtor you should use to all their friends and family. But if you have the attitude, you know, you need to show them what you want to show them, like, oh, you're so successful, like whatever, it doesn't necessarily work to your advantage. I think at the end of the day, be yourself, be knowledgeable about what you want to provide for the client, what you can do for them. And it's always about servicing the client 120%.
120%, guys. Can I share a story, Sal?
Sure.
So Salina, on her way to a showing, guys, this was like a few years ago. I think I was still with Rennie. I think maybe it been 5, 6, maybe 8 years ago. We got word that Salina got hit by a car. She got hit by a car, and then she got right up, guys, and then she went to the showing. How are you so committed to your craft and to your clients, Sal? I mean, if it were me, I'll be like, oh my God, I need to just take a rest. Sorry, I can't make the showing. How are you so committed?
Well, I mean, I have to say, I have to owe it to my parents. My mom was really strict with us growing up. She's this like 5 foot, 90-pound lady. And she was like driving the whip. So there's 3 of us. There's myself and my 2 brothers. We're all 2 years apart. I'm the eldest. You know, as an Asian mom, we totally all played piano. From a young age, we had to play piano 3 hours a day, 1.5 hours before going to school, 1.5 hours after school. And then we weren't allowed sports because that would hurt, maybe have a potential to hurt our fingers or whatever.
Right.
And we had to get straight A's. And when we got straight A's, my mom would say, what, you got 97% in Chem 12? Well, what you got 3% to improve. So we were really driven by my mom. I'm not saying that's the correct way, because obviously it does create someone like myself who's a little bit crazy. Like I am driven. Like, you know, there's a lot of stories out there that I'm having contractions with my children and I'm still on the phone and taking calls in between. But I'm not saying it's a normal way, but I do owe it a lot to my upbringing and how my parents brought us up and the work ethics that they were brought up and wanted to instill in us to be successful in life.
That's crazy. I mean, you after all these years, you're still so committed to your clients. And I wanted to ask, I don't know if Danny's back, but if Danny's back, like I wanted to ask you guys, how are you staying so relentless even after 20, 25, 26 years in the business?
You know what? I just get up every day and I enjoy what I do. It's not like, oh, I get up and like, what's next? And it's something I still enjoy doing. It's I look forward to it, and every day's a little bit different, right? And I think the other thing that keeps me going on this is just the family and just my kids, and just I want them to kind of enjoy the things that I wasn't be able to enjoy when I was growing up. And my parents were really hardworking, and yeah, I didn't get to do a lot of things that I'd like my kids to do, right? And my kids are in all these activities, and same thing, me and my wife, we both like to travel. That I'd like to keep on being able to travel. So it's always keeps me going, right? So.
Wow. And yeah, I mean, that I get it. After you have kids, I have 2 kids now. It still keeps me hungry. How about Sal? I mean, yeah, Sal's got 3 kids, by the way. And every time she had a kid, she went right back to work. No mat leave, just so you know.
For me, I think I'm driven just naturally inside. Like, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you're just born with it. It's just like, you know, John, you have brothers. You came from the same parents, but you all have different personalities and different characteristics.
Mhm.
I just, I'm a people pleaser. I
Mhm.
get a high, it's kind of selfish because I feel good when I help people buy or I win that multiple offer. It's almost like my drug. So I'm addicted to it. So
Mm.
it's a little bit sad. I mean, I'm addicted to nice vacations and all that stuff too, but I'm also addicted to succeeding for my clients and getting, you know, a positive reinforcement from my client as well. It just, I still feel sometimes I'm that high school girl getting, you know, teacher approval, but now it's not my teachers, it's my clients.
Wow.
So I think that's just how it is for me.
I think that you guys are both addicted to deals. That's what I think at the end of the day. It really is a drug. But in all seriousness, you guys are both so humble and so kind. And another story is every year at Chinese New Year, Salina would give everybody, including all the agents in the office, a red packet. And every year I look forward to it. You gave me $10. That means a lot to me, and to your clients as well. I think like that's just the level of customer service and level of care that you really show everyone around you, and everybody's inspired by that. And now we get a wider audience to get to know you. So after all these years, guys, millions and millions of dollars sold, you have a great life. You have no ego. Both of you have no ego. How are you staying so humble after all these years?
I'll let Sal answer that one.
I mean, I have people like Danny that put me in my place, I guess. I don't know. uh, I think it's also the group of people you surround yourself with. It's always, people always say it, but you have a choice. Not you have choice in life who you count as your own friends, with people that are really big egos and whatever it is they're into, then you will naturally become like your circle of friends.
Mm,
The people I like to surround myself with are not necessarily, super flashy people, but they're all very educated, very well-rounded, just kind people. Because
mm.
I want to be around people that I like so that it rubs off on me and I'm a reflection of my inner circle. So, I mean, luckily, like Danny and I partnered, like he said, in 2007, 2008. I count him as one of my best friends. So when I work together, I love it because we rarely get into any conflicts at all. And it's just nice, right, to have that relationship. And I know he has my back. If I need a few days off, like we try to plan our vacations so that they're not coinciding. We do travel together like a couple weeks ago with our families, but
Mm.
usually if I go away, I know that Danny's handling everything and everything's, going to be looked after while I'm gone.
You are who you hang out with. That's all what we always talk about. Danny, how
Yes,
about yourself? How do you
I
keep
think
so humble?
I think it's just like Salina says, is this, I think I call the spirit influence, just the people you surround yourself with, right? And I think myself, I'm just loyal to a lot of people. Like I couple of my best friends are from high school and I still hang around with them. We got this group that we hang around with. It's been high school wise, was it 20, well, dating myself here, it's been 28, I guess 28 years now since high school, but
What?
that's the friends or circle of friends growing up is still my core group of friends that I still hang around with and constantly talk to and everything. And I think, like Selena said, just the group of people you hang around with, and when you grow up, and I grew up with all of them in high school. We grew up in North Delta, Surrey, and just yeah, it was just yeah, not into like the the fancy things, I guess, but just yeah. So
You two never bought into that life. I mean, and guys, Danny and Salina, they all sell upwards of $5 million listings and even 20, $30 million listings. And look at how down to earth they are. They're just like us. So believe in yourself. The last question I have for you guys is most marriages don't even last a couple years. And you've been working together for like what is it now? 15 years. How are you keeping it together as partners?
I think it's I think it's one of those things where in any relationship, I think it's the trust is really important in communication. So like Salina says, it is we trust each other, we look after each other, we look after each other's back, and when she's away, when I'm away, and that's really important, right? And I think the other thing is communication, just with like any type of relationship, business relationship, personal relationships, communication is really important. I think just open communication with ourselves and how we just always talk, constantly talking, so there's no kind of what the other person might be thinking that they're upset. And I think that's the key. Those are two things I think is in the long term. It's just the communication side of things and the trust. So
communication and trust. How about yourself? What do you think?
We don't talk that much about our feelings, Danny.
work feelings.
I think another thing is Danny and myself, we're normal people. I mean, especially during this whole pandemic, you realize the people around you, other colleagues, other friends, there's some weird people out there. And, you know, lucky enough, Danny and I feel we're pretty normal. So we also deal with different types of clients. My clientele that likes me may not necessarily mesh with Danny, and vice versa. Danny, like we always say, like he loves that, like all those middle-aged, like older Chinese ladies love Danny. They want Danny for their son-in-law. And they hate me. They're like, they look at me as a wicked woman or something. I don't know. But we also know what our strengths are. So and right away, you know, we see it's that middle-aged Asian lady with a young daughter or whatever, then Danny does most of the talking. If it's another crowd that I have more compatibilities with, then I do most of the talking. So it just kind of, we just naturally are in tune with each other. We don't have to discuss it. We don't have a big meeting before a listing appointment. It just kind of goes with the flow. The other thing is, we're not very techy, as you probably know, John. I mean, I barely can do an Excel spreadsheet. So Danny and I communicate a lot with WhatsApp. Our like, we do have 2 licenses and we're all on WhatsApp. So basically, sometimes if Danny has the listing, those clients trust Danny, he goes with it. He controls that listing. He deals with it. I never have to even, sometimes like I'll see the listing, but you know, over 20 listings. So it's not like I'm always having to worry about Danny's listing. And same with my clients. If I'm dealing with my clients, they know me better. They don't want Danny interjecting. So I'm the one taking charge of the people, of the sellers that I'm closer with as well. So we're really kind of naturally good at kind of organizing who deals with who.
That's really good. So it's trust, is communication, and you guys just mesh really well, and you all have your own style to be versatile with your clients that you have. So, I mean, with that all being said, you guys are very special. I would say this, like special in the way that you're a great salespeople, special in the way that you're partners after all these years. What advice would you give us newer realtors to have them be successful? One piece of advice each.
One piece of advice. I think it goes back to loyalty. I think loyalty is that main group of your clientele. You just remain loyal to them and they'll remain loyal to you. That's the way of building a business, right? Because if you're going to be working towards referrals, that's one of the most important things of loyal. Like myself, I've been with Rennie in one company ever since I started, right? So I've been loyal to the company ever since. I've had many opportunities that come up where people have asked me to join different companies, whatnot, but I've always remained loyal to Realty.
That's amazing. You're like Kobe with the Lakers, man. That's amazing. So guys, be loyal to your clients, and your clients will be loyal to you. Thank you. Sal, what do you think?
Patience. I think patience. I think it's easy to see the success successes of John Tsai or whoever in the world, and you want to live up to those successes. But you have to realize you're getting a glimpse of our success now, but you didn't see how long it took for us to reach this. And I think the first timers or the younger folk nowadays is with social media and everything, everyone posts all this success, and it's can be really depressing if you're not at that level. But give yourself reachable goals, push yourself, but don't give yourself goals that are just unrealistic just because whoever your mentor is doing 50 deals in a few months. Like, give yourself realistic goals, and then once you reach those, increase them again. Push yourself, but be realistic as well, or else you're setting yourself up for failure. I think that's one of the things is patience, and work hard, because I have people coming to me all the time wanting to ask for advice, or even my own friends that want to be realtors, and they get their license and they say to me, Salina, I don't want to make as much as you do. So I don't want to work as hard as you do either. And I just say that's not how it works. You have to work 200% harder than I do, because you're going to be competing against people like myself that have the experience, that it comes a lot naturally to us than maybe a first-time realtor, like a first newbie realtor. So I think you have to adjust how you think, but patience is a big one.
That is huge. So guys, patience in this business is absolutely crucial. And you got to be loyal to your clients if you want your clients to be loyal to you. And patience, in a Latin word, is patai. Patai is suffering. So guys, be willing to suffer in this business. I'm not kidding. You have to work hard. And it took Salina and Danny 26 years to be where they're at today. They're still killing it, still crushing it. Danny and Salina, thank you so much for today. How can we get a hold of you to send you referrals?
Well, my email, dchow@rennie.com. You can always contact me there, or my number is 604-765, and the last 4 digits actually spelled Chow, 2469. Easy to remember.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for having
the best.
Thanks
Have
for
a great
having
day
us.
ahead, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.